When everyone is the main character, the hidden reality behind our connected universe, have you ever experienced that strange moment of clarity? You're going about your day, maybe scrolling through your phone in a coffee shop, stuck in traffic, or simply people watching from your window, when suddenly something shifts. For just an instant, you see beyond your own bubble, and realize something profound. Every single person around you is living a story just as intricate, meaningful, and real as your own. That businessman rushing past isn't just background scenery in your life. He's the protagonist of his own epic, complete with dreams, fears, relationships, and a history you'll never know. The woman laughing on her phone isn't a random extra. She's experiencing joy that feels just as vivid to her as your deepest emotions feel to you. Every car that passes, every lit window in the distance, every face in the crowd, represents an entire universe of experience happening simultaneously with yours. This awakening has a beautiful name, Sonder. It's that sudden, almost overwhelming awareness that everyone around you is living a life as complex and full as your own. But what if this realization points to something even more extraordinary about the nature of reality itself? The universe isn't what it seems. For centuries, we've operated under a comforting assumption. Reality exists independently of us. The world is solid, fixed, and objective, a stage where we perform our lives, but don't actually influence the backdrop. This seems so obvious that questioning it feels almost absurd, yet some of history's greatest minds have dared to challenge this fundamental belief. The 18th-century philosopher George Berkeley proposed something radical. What if reality doesn't exist independently of observation? What if the very act of perceiving creates the world around us? Berkeley's theory of immaterialism suggested that everything we consider real is actually mental ideas in consciousness, rather than solid matter. This sounds like philosophical fantasy, until you realize that modern physics has stumbled upon eerily similar conclusions. When science meets the impossible, enter quantum mechanics, where the impossible becomes routine. In the 1930s, physicists faced a troubling discovery. At the smallest scales of reality, particles don't behave like the solid, predictable objects we expect. Instead, they exist in multiple states simultaneously, until someone observes them. The famous double-slit experiment demonstrates this beautifully. Send a particle through two slits, and it somehow goes through both at once, creating an interference pattern like a wave. But the moment you try to observe which slit it actually uses, the particle chooses just one path, behaving like the solid object we expect. This isn't just a quirk of measurement, it suggests something profound about the relationship between consciousness and reality. As physicist John Wheeler put it, no phenomenon is a phenomenon until it is an observed phenomenon. But the strangeness goes deeper. When particles interact, they become entangled, their properties become mysteriously linked, regardless of distance. Change one particle, and its partner instantly responds, even if they're separated by galaxies. Einstein famously called this spooky action at a distance, and spent years trying to disprove it. He failed. In 2022, the Nobel Prize in Physics was awarded to scientists who definitively proved that the universe is not locally real, meaning reality doesn't exist in a fixed, independent way, as we assumed. Reality as information. If matter isn't solid and independent, what is reality made of? Some physicists propose a startling answer: information. John Wheeler suggested that all of existence emerges from the processing of binary information. Essentially, reality is computed into existence through cosmic yes, minus, or minus, no questions. This participatory universe theory suggests that reality emerges through the interaction between consciousness and the quantum field. We're not passive observers of a pre-minus existing world, we're active participants in creating the reality we experience. Even more remarkably, experiments show that particles respond not just to observation, but to the type of observation we choose to make. The question we ask literally shapes the answer reality gives us. It's as if the universe is playing an infinite game of 20 questions, but instead of guessing a predetermined answer, our questions actually determine what the answer becomes. The conscious universe. This brings us to one of the most profound questions in science and philosophy. What is consciousness, and where does it come from? If reality emerges through observation, what exactly is doing the observing? Traditional science suggests consciousness emerges from complex arrangements of matter, like your brain. But this creates a puzzle. How does unconscious matter suddenly become conscious? How do dead atoms arrange themselves into the vivid, first-person experience of being you? An ancient philosophical idea called Panpsychism offers a radical solution. What if consciousness isn't created by matter, but is a fundamental feature of matter itself? What if every particle, every atom, every grain of sand possesses some tiny spark of awareness? This isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. We already know that particles seem to respond to observation. What if this responsiveness is a primitive form of consciousness? What if complexity doesn't create consciousness but simply amplifies it? If consciousness permeates everything, it could explain the observer effect in quantum mechanics. There would always be observation happening at every level of reality. The universe wouldn't need human consciousness to collapse quantum states. It would be constantly observing itself. A mind the size of the universe. Imagine the universe as a vast, interconnected network of conscious entities, from subatomic particles to planets to galaxies, all processing information and responding to each other. Like neurons in an incomprehensibly large brain, each component contributes to a cosmic intelligence that we can barely fathom. In this view, when we observe quantum phenomena, we're not separate observers looking at dead matter. We're part of the universe becoming aware of itself. We're cosmic neurons trying to understand the mind we're embedded within. This perspective transforms that moment of Sonder into something even more profound. Those billions of conscious experiences happening simultaneously around you aren't just parallel stories, they're all part of a single vast narrative that the universe is telling about itself. The story we're all writing, whether or not the universe literally thinks. The interconnectedness revealed by quantum mechanics suggests something extraordinary. We're all participants in a cosmic story that we're simultaneously creating and discovering. Every observation, every choice, every moment of consciousness contributes to the unfolding reality we all share. Your subjective experience isn't separate from objective reality, it's part of how objective reality creates itself. The thoughts you think, the choices you make, the moments of awareness you experience, all ripple through the quantum field, influencing the cosmic information processing that shapes what becomes real. This doesn't mean you can think your way to $1 million or manifest your dream job through positive thinking, but it does suggest that consciousness and reality are far more intertwined than we ever imagined. Your inner world isn't just a private theater, it's part of the larger performance that reality stages for itself. Protecting your private universe. While we contemplate these cosmic mysteries, there's one place where we definitely want to maintain privacy: our personal information online. In our interconnected digital world, data brokers and search sites constantly harvest our private details, names, addresses, phone numbers, and more, selling this information to whoever will pay. This is where today's sponsor, Incogni, becomes essential. These data collection companies are legally required to remove your information when requested, but doing this yourself would be a full lifetime job. Incogni handles this automatically, reaching out to data brokers on your behalf and continuously monitoring to ensure your information stays removed. You can track their progress through an easy dashboard and rest assured that your private reality stays private. Click the link in the description to get 60% off Incogni's annual plan and take control of your digital privacy today. The theater of everything. We began with Sonder, that moment of recognizing that everyone around you is living a story as rich and real as your own. But perhaps these stories aren't just parallel narratives happening in isolation. Perhaps they're all chapters in a single vast book that the universe is writing about itself. In this cosmic theater, there is no center stage, because every perspective is the center of its own universe. Yet somehow, all these individual universes weave together into something larger, a reality that emerges from the interplay of countless conscious observers, each contributing their unique perspective to the whole. The next time you experience that moment of Sonder, remember, you're not just recognizing other people's inner worlds. You're glimpsing the universe becoming aware of itself through billions of eyes, processing information through countless minds, and creating reality through the endless exchange of consciousness and cosmos. We may never fully understand what reality is or how consciousness works. But in those moments when we step outside our own story and see the infinite stories around us, we touch something profound. The recognition that we're all part of something far stranger, more beautiful, and more interconnected than we ever dared imagine. Every thought you think, every observation you make, every moment of awareness you experience, adds another note to the symphony of existence. You're not just watching the universe, you're helping it compose itself, one conscious moment at a time.